Hey, what's up guys? It's me, your boy Orban Kasday Gavinesh back here with another brand new video and I hope you guys are having a great day. So I'm here for the Spanish Grand Prix review. So without any further ado, let's get right into the video guys. Well, what a race it was to witness. All through the weekend with the rain making some special appearances in FP3 for us to have a very unpredictable qualifying session with a damp third sector. To a race that was so much more engaging to watch for a Spanish Grand Prix than before. Sadly, there was no safety car or VSC, but on the whole, the reprofiled final corner with that long sweeping right-hander not only made the track quicker, but also made the track better to overtake. So going back to the old track layout is now not only drivers' favorite, but also can say for the fans as well. I mean, there was great battle on track between the drivers and also off track from the teams with different strategical calls. Teams I think used almost all three different compounds, which I think is the first time this season. With the cooler and overcast weather conditions, the race had me on edge all through, thinking it could rain any moment, but that didn't happen. But there were other things in the race that kept me entertained, which was obviously the strategical calls first of all, then the midfield battle that kept on going from the start to the end, especially the battle between Hulkenberg, Zhou Guanyu and Yuki Tsunoda. I mean, it just went on to the end with Gasly joining towards the end. So moving on to Max. Well, he was on a league of his own this weekend as usual. What do you expect from him other than that? A grand slam. Honestly, watching him drive that RB19 is almost scary as to how good he is. I mean, if someone asks me the definition of man and the car becoming one, I would suggest them to look at Sebastian with the RB7 and RB9, Lewis with the W10 and W11, and now Max with the RB18 and RB19. He is scarily good. That car does everything he wants for it to do. Honestly, he is the driver on his prime right now on the grid, and if this is not his ultimate prime, then I am partially worried and excited as well about what is to come. Checo, on the other hand, had another scruffy weekend, bottled the car in quali in Q2, getting knocked out, starting P11, lost some positions in the start but managed to recover to finish P4. I say if it wasn't for the traffic towards the end of the race, P3 was definitely on the cards for him, but again, a mediocre weekend from Checo. Moving on to Mercedes though, wow. I said in my Monaco GP review video that I'm excited to see how the new upgrades that the Merc has brought to their car would work, and have to say they have made a step forward in the right direction, and they are inching closer to the Red Bulls in qualifying pace. The qualifying pace was significantly better than what it was in the past, and they seem to be the clear second fastest car on the grid in this particular weekend, at least, to finish the race P2 and P3 with Hamilton and Russell. I say it was a brilliant weekend for them. Both the drivers seem to be struggling with the car's balance during the free practice sessions, but on the qualifying, Hamilton managed to get on top of it to finish the qualifying to start P5 in the race, and Russell still seemed to struggle in the qualifying session as well, getting knocked out in Q2, starting P12 for the race. Quickly managed to recover the car though to finish the race P3. Overall, a great effort from Mercedes this weekend. Moving on to Ferrari. Well, Ferrari on the other hand also had brought some upgrades to their car, especially to the side pods that they had expected to improve their race pace and get them closer to the Red Bulls, but unfortunately they had another below average weekend, with Leclerc getting knocked out in Q1, having issues with the car's balance, starting the race P19, and Carlos starting the race P2, qualifying P2. The qualifying from Carlos was actually really good, but he finished the race P5, falling back, and Charles not being able to make any inroads in the race, shockingly finishing the race P11 outside the points. I mean, the Ferrari seemed to be very inconsistent with their pace. Even on the same compound on two different stints, the car had very inconsistent performance. Whatever the issue was with the car, I hope Ferrari can fix it in time before the Canadian Grand Prix, using all the data and the feedback from the drivers, because it looks genuinely worrying. Well, Aston Martin, on the other hand, was the biggest shocker for me despite a decent weekend, with both the cars finishing the race P6 and P7. Fernando with the floor damage in Q1 finishing quali P9, and Stroll out-qualifying his teammate for the first time to finish the qualifying session in P6. Both the drivers struggled to make any inroads up front. Rather, it seemed like the car lacked race pace compared to the Ferrari and the Mercedes as well, finishing the race, as I said before, P6 and P7. I hope, as Fernando said in the post-race interview, their upgrades in Canada hopefully should bring them back into the game as a podium contender. Moving on to the Alpines. Well, Alpine had a very similar fate to the Astons as well, with Esteban Ocon qualifying P7 and Gasly in P4. It seemed like the team is continuing the momentum that they took from the Monaco Grand Prix, but with Gasly's 6th place grid penalty for impeding two other drivers during the qualifying session, pushing him down to P10, losing positions at the race start as well. Gasly finished the race P10, exactly where he started, with Ocon having the better weekend over his teammate to finish P7, exactly again where he started the race from as well. Not sure if the Alpine's race pace has gone down or whether it was a one-off. I guess we'll get the answer for it as we go to Canada. Moving on to the McLarens now. Well, McLaren got our hopes up with Lando's as usual brilliant qualifying performance to secure P3 for the race start, quickly falling down the order after the lap 1 front wing damage, putting him right to the back of the grid for him to finish the race P17. And Oscar having a decent weekend, qualifying P10, finishing the race P13. I mean, McLarens have been right in the fringes of making it into the points every race, but mostly failing to do so. I hope they bring in some upgrades sooner to their car to make it competitive, as right now I think they are wasting the talent of two incredibly brilliant drivers. AlphaTauri, on the other hand, had a much better weekend with both the drivers performing decently well. Nick De Vries certainly seemed to have upped his game as we get more to the traditional tracks that he's used to. His performance is starting to come alive, which is a good sign. He did have his moments in qualifying by constantly spinning the car on the damp part of the track in Sector 3, but he managed to get the car into Q2, qualifying P14 for the race, beating his teammate by 4/10 of a second, who qualified P15. Yuki though had a bad quali, but he came alive in the race. Towards the end, he was to score points before he pushed Zhou Guanyu off track, getting a 5-second time penalty, pushing him down to P12, whereas Nick De Vries finished the race exactly where he started from, which was P14. Moving on to the Alfa Romeos. Alfa Romeo had a better weekend, at least with one side of the garage, scoring points, with Zhou finishing P9. It was overall a better weekend from Zhou than Valtteri. Zhou qualified P13, whereas his teammate qualified P16, getting knocked out in Q1. In the race, where Zhou finished the race P9, Valtteri finished the race P19. So a crappy weekend from Valtteri, but Zhou can be proud of his performance this weekend for his team. Moving on to Williams. Well, Williams is a team I thought would do well considering the longer straights on this new layout of this track, but they did pretty bad. Williams started the season really well, but now it seems like they are falling back to where they were previously. I hope the team brings in some upgrades that could bring some more pace into the car to score some points. As usual, among the teammates, Albon seemed to put together a better weekend for the team. Alex qualifying P18 and Logan Sargent qualifying P20, Alex managed to finish the race P16. On the other hand, his teammate finished the race P20 again as the last person to cross the finish line. And let's not forget, he also crashed in one of the free practice sessions. So I mean, Logan is really making me wonder if he's really an upgrade from Latifi, who pretty much did the same. I hope he can improve at least towards the end of this season, especially when the team is having your back. It's important for you to repay them with a good result and constantly showing them that you are improving. Moving on to Haas, well, a below average weekend from them. Hulkenberg qualifying P8, finishing the race P15, while Magnussen qualifying P17, finishing the race P18. I hoped for Haas to do better around this track, but I guess I was wrong. The Haas car definitely has the one lap pace which Nico seemed to be extracting from the car brilliantly well, but come to the race day, the car just starts to fall back. I hope Haas has some upgrades in the pipeline for the car, and hopefully they can make some improvements in the coming races. So yes guys, that would be my Spanish Grand Prix race review. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure that thumbs up button, and also let me know in the comment section on what you thought of the Spanish Grand Prix weekend and what you thought about the Catalonia track's reprofile layout. I'm excited to know what is your take on it as well. And with that being said, I would like to wrap up this video guys. If you haven't subscribed to the Autobahncast YouTube channel already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and also hit that bell icon and turn on all notifications so you get notified whenever I upload a brand new video. It's me, your boy Autobahncast aka Vinesh, and I'm out. Love you guys, stay safe, peace.